What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Lost and Found Dating channel. Thank you for joining us for another episode. If this is your first time checking out the channel, welcome. We welcome you with open arms to the Lost and Found Dating family. And we encourage you to check out some of our other platforms. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter as well, where we talk about dating, we talk about life, and of course, we blend the two together and talk about dating life. So, welcome to the channel, or welcome back. Without further ado, let's dive in to this week's topic. All right, ladies and gents. So today we are going to talk about the dangers of having a martyr complex when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships, or when it comes to friendships, specifically in the context of negative relationships, right? So when those things start to turn negative, we're going to talk about what are some of the dangers of having this sort of martyr complex when it comes to those negative relationships. And what made me decide to do this topic for this video, and this will share some insight into our creative process here at this channel, but I was thinking of just certain negative thought patterns that people have when it comes to relationships. And when I say negative thought patterns, what I mean is thought patterns that sometimes make people susceptible or make people an ideal target for mistreatment or for abuse, or just thought patterns that continue to perpetuate and continue to sustain and maintain negative, unhealthy relationships. So often what I will do is I will think of certain thought patterns of my own, or just certain conversations that I've had with friends or family, and just try to tap into, okay, what is maybe the negative thought pattern or the negative program that they're running that is keeping them in this unhealthy situation, or maybe making them susceptible or vulnerable to more mistreatment or more abuse, whatever the case may be, right? So I'm thinking in the concept or the idea that came into my head was I kept coming back to this idea of someone who has a martyr complex, or someone who thinks of themselves as a martyr when it comes to bad relationships, right? And you think of the word martyr, or some of the famous martyrs out there. There are people who've dealt with challenges or adversity, and kind of they have a certain pride and a certain positive mindset as far as dealing with those challenges or dealing with that adversity. So I'm on a search engine, and I'm searching martyr and thinking of yourself as a martyr when it comes to relationships, and lo and behold, there is something called having a martyr complex. So I'm scrolling through, and I'm curious, I'm looking through the different articles and the different pages that I find, and I find that some of the articles tend to use the word martyr complex, or tend to talk about having a martyr complex and having a victim complex. They tend to describe it as the same thing. Whereas, I've read articles about having a victim complex. I've dealt with people who I felt had a victim complex, and I always felt like the two were very distinct, very different things. So I was looking specifically for the kind of mindset of that martyr mindset, that idea of pride and strength in the suffering and the mistreatment that you're dealing with. And I actually found a really good article that I think helps paint the picture and helps illustrate what I mean by having a martyr complex, and helps me kind of dissect it for you all in order to try to describe why it can be unhealthy. So I found the article, and the article is by Dr. Timothy J. Legg, and the title of the article is called. The title of the article is "Breaking Down the Martyr Complex." So you could search for that article online. I'm going to leave a link to the article in the description box. But basically, when you're dealing with a martyr complex versus a victim complex, how I think of someone who has a victim complex, it's more of the idea of they will experience a situation and they have a tendency to reframe the situation or re-describe it, recall it, right, in their own mind, or re-describe it to someone else. And they'll always have this tendency of framing themselves as the victim, often in situations where they are actually the perpetrator, right? Where they are actually the ones doing the mistreatment and being unkind or being abusive. Often they will be the perpetuator of that behavior, but they will see themselves as the victim, right? So let's say you have someone who they're at their job and they have this pent up frustration and this anger and this rage, and they take it out on a customer or they take it out on a client, and they scream at them. They're sort of verbally aggressive with them. They yell at them. They insult someone. They humiliate them, and they put someone else down. And let's say the consequences of that are they get fired, they lose their job. When they're describing the situation, even though they were the instigator, even though it was their misbehavior and their poor choice of action that led them to get fired, they will describe it as, oh, well, my boss didn't like me, or they just had it out for me, when in reality, it was their own behavior that led to that consequence, that led to that result, right? That's having a victim complex. Having a martyr complex is very different, and I'm going to kind of read sort of describe the ways in which it's different. All right, so I'm going to describe here again how the article goes into detail. So breaking down the martyr complex. A person with a victim mentality typically feels personally victimized by anything that goes wrong, even when the problem, rude behavior, or mishap wasn't directed at them. They may not show much interest in hearing possible solutions. Instead, they may give the impression of just wanting to wallow in misery. A martyr complex goes beyond this. People with a martyr complex don't just feel victimized, they typically seem to go out of their way to find situations that are likely to cause distress or other suffering. Right, so my interpretation of that is it's a little different in the sense of these are people who will go, as the article describes, will go out of their way, will find themselves in friendships or relationships where they constantly feel the need to forfeit their own demands and their own desires, their own needs in order to satisfy someone else, right? There will be that obligation to people please and to want to do for others but not do for yourself. But when you think of a martyr, and you can look at history and people who are martyrs as far as certain ideas or certain religions, it goes with this idea of almost wearing the adversity or the challenges that you're dealing with almost as you wear it as a badge of honor, right? You wear it as a badge of pride, right? So you can have someone who's in a very emotionally turbulent relationship. Their partner mistreats them, their partner neglects them, abandons them, whatever negative behavior is happening, but you will have this person who is in that situation and they're kind of wearing the mistreatment as a badge of honor. And I have dealt with this where this isn't really complex that I've dealt with, but I've seen friends who are in bad situations, bad friendships, bad relationships, and they'll describe the situation. They'll describe, this person insulted me or humiliated me or was abusive towards me emotionally or verbally, and I'll sit there and I'll listen and I'll say, okay, well, what do you think, what do you think is a solution? What do you think you may want to do as far as addressing the behavior? And you will see the person start to just kind of accept the treatment and almost have a sense of pride or have a sense of strength in it, right? You'll start giving them solutions, or hey, maybe let's look at it from this perspective and maybe you can take this course of action. And they'll go, you know what, man, nah, I'm not, you know what, I'm just gonna take it, I'm just gonna let it happen, and they will, it's almost this mindset of I'm going to accept the mistreatment, I'm going to accept the abuse, almost to try to show the other person how bad of a person they can be. It's almost like, you know what, I'm going to let them do it. I'm going to keep letting them mistreat me and talk to me this way. I'm going to keep letting them behave this way, almost to show them how bad of a person they are, right? To show the person who's mistreating me, I'm going to show them just how bad they can be by continuing to accept the behavior, right? And it's almost this mindset of my resistance is through not resisting, right? I'm gonna resist the behavior and the mistreatment through not resisting it, right? Just by accepting it and showing how much I can take, that's how I'm gonna resist how they're treating me. I am suffering and I am dealing with pain and with mistreatment for a cause, and that cause is showing you, the person who's treating me this way, is showing you how evil of a person you are, right? My cause and the thing that I'm fighting for is showing you how bad of a person you can be. And another very subtle difference that I've seen between people who have kind of this victim complex and people who have the martyr complex is what they are looking to get out of the interaction when they're describing it to you, right? So if you are, whether the person has a victim complex or a martyr complex, often, let's say you're a friend or a confidant or a family member or someone whom this person trusts in, each and every interaction, every time they see you, every time they talk to you on the phone, there'll be some new story that they're telling you, right? This person did this to me, or this person said this. There will always be a new episode, but the subtle difference there, usually I can tell when I'm interacting with someone who has that victim complex, because what they're looking for and what their end goal is as far as interacting with me is they want sympathy, right? They want sympathy, they want compassion, they want you to be able to empathize with them and to feel bad for them. All, poor you, your job is being so mean to you, your family is being so mean to you, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, they're being so unkind to you, just life is not fair, right? That is the energy that they want from that situation. When I'm interacting with someone who has that martyr complex, sympathy isn't really the goal that they're going after. It's not sympathy, it's not compassion. Really, it's almost a sense of they want validation and encouragement, right? To keep fighting the good fight, keep stay in the pocket, stay in the ring, keep dealing with it, right? When I'm giving solutions and I'm giving approaches and ways that they can maybe deal with the situation, they're not looking for sympathy, they're not looking for poor you. Often they are looking for, like I said, it's that validation, it's that affirmation of, you're tough, you're strong, you're resilient, just keep dealing with it. Like I said, when you give them solutions, they'll hit you with that, you know what, nah, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna see how long they can go, right? It's like I'm gonna see how long I can endure this, right? I'm gonna see whether I can endure the negative treatment, right? That's kind of the program that they're running, and they want that validation from you. They want that confirmation. Keep doing it, man. You'll be able to tire out, the person who's mistreating you. You'll be able to get to them eventually. Eventually they'll give in, right? That's what they are looking for, or at least from my perspective, that's the mindset that I see from them, as far as how I see them tend to steer the direction, or steer the conversation. So, what are some tips and some strategies that I would give for someone who maybe they see those tendencies in themselves, or you may be on the other side, maybe noticing these tendencies in a friend of yours, right? A friend is coming to you and they just seem to have this mindset of wanting to be, a martyr, and wanting to be a champion of mistreatment and of pain and of suffering, right? So if you yourself subscribe to that, or you know someone else who does, what I would implore you to do is ask yourself, or encourage them to ask themselves, right, what is the fight that you're fighting for, right? What is the meaning of the mistreatment and the relationship that you're in, right? Encouraging yourself or that person to ask, what am I getting out of this, right? What is it that I am a champion of? If I continue down this path and I continue, repeating this same pattern of behavior, if I continue dating the same kinds of people or befriending the same kinds of people, right? Where is that going to get me, right? I know that I'm in this situation, or that you're in this situation, but what is the meaning that you're trying to make from all of this, right? If you continue doing what you're doing now, what will your life look like in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 20 years from now? And is that the life that you want, right? Never mind the cause and the mission that you're championing for, and that you're a martyr for, and you're willing to try to prove to this other person how bad they are. For yourself, right? Thinking selfishly, thinking about yourself, right? Not thinking in a codependent sort of, relationship type style, thinking of yourself, ask yourself, what are you getting out of this, right? Or ask them, what are you getting out of this? What will this bring you? Continuing to go down this path, what will it beget you, and what will your life look like down the road? There you go.
1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. All over your face.
So I would encourage you to think about you, right? Think, what is it that you want, right? When you said, okay, I want a relationship, or I want a friendship, think about what is it that you want, right? Did you sign up for bullying, mistreatment, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse? Did you want that? Did you sign up for those things? Or did you perhaps want something better for yourself? So tip number one is focusing on what it is that you want, right? Focusing on, specifically on drawing the picture of what you want your life to look like outside of this person, outside of the situation that you're in. What is it that you want your life to look like, right? That's strategy number one. Strategy number two is try not to derive meaning and derive purpose from certain negative situations that bring you pain and bring you suffering. And the reason why I say certain situations is because, life itself, in order to achieve growth, in order to achieve progress, in order to become better, sometimes part of that means pain, right? Sometimes part of that means suffering. Sometimes it means the pain of change. Sometimes it means the pain or the suffering of working towards a better version of you, right? If you've ever done an intense workout, or maybe you've run a marathon, or you've done some incredibly challenging physical feat, or maybe it's not even a physical feat. It could be some intellectual feat. You got into your top choice school or your top choice medical school, right? That process involved pain, involved suffering, but the end goal was some growth from it, right? Some progress, some development, something that was going to move you further in life, right? You are able to take the challenges and the adversity and derive meaning from it. I think what people who have that martyr complex tend to do is they derive meaning from situations that involve pain and suffering, but that aren't leading to that same growth, right? They're negative, they're unhealthy because they're not leading to that progress, that development. I think our mind can be very sneaky, very cunning, very even, dare I say, manipulative at times, in that it will look for meaning even when there isn't meaning there, right? If you're in a bad, traumatic situation, our minds have this tendency of trying to find meaning, right? What is the purpose of this? Why is this happening to me? And even when it's just a person being a jerk towards you, or a person mistreating you, or a person abusing you, which, there is no surface level meaning from that. There is no great purpose that comes from a person just being a jerk towards you, right? I think we can agree there's other ways that you can find meaning in life that don't deal with that. Sometimes our mind, just in order to kind of protect us, protect ourselves, it tries to derive meaning, and it tries to derive a higher consciousness from negative situations in which there really is no meaning, right? You can derive meaning from those relationships, you can derive meaning from those situations, but you don't have to be in it, and you don't have to be accepting pain in order to do so, right? What do I mean from that? And this kind of ties into strategy number 3. You can leave the relationship, you can leave that unhealthy relationship, and you can choose to take it and derive meaning from it in order for your growth, right? You can choose to write a book, you can choose to write a blog post, right? You can choose to give advice to others, to be a beacon of light and hope for others who have been in that same situation. You can choose to start your own YouTube channel, right? You can choose different pathways that allow you to create that same meaning and that same purpose, and to make something better from pain and from a negative situation that don't involve you actually being in the negative situation. Does that make sense? Right? You can be in an unhealthy relationship and leave it. You can abandon that. You can leave that behind you, and then, right, derive meaning from that situation. You can look back the same way that I create these videos. I can look back at previous situations, at previous relationships and friendships, and say, okay, this is a situation that I dealt with. I can help others from it, right? I can share it with others. I can help maybe guide people out of those kinds of relationships, or guide people towards changing them, right? I can create meaning from that negative, right? I can create a positive from the negative, but I don't have to be in the negative situation, right? I don't have to foster and develop in that pain and in that hurt in order to do those things, in order to create meaning from it, right? So that's something that you can use for yourself. If you want to look at a negative situation and derive meaning from it, don't think that you have to deal with the pain and be receiving that mistreatment in order to do so, right? There are healthier alternatives and ways that you can derive meaning for yourself and for others that don't involve accepting and tolerating that pain, that mistreatment, that bullying. And it goes back to the old saying, or the old adage of, in order to help others, you have to help yourself, right? If you want to help others, if you want to derive meaning from this, you yourself have to seek health. You have to seek sanity. You have to seek independence from these negative situations. You can't help anyone, or you can, but you can't optimally help people if you are the target and you are the recipient of that pain, right? Fight and claw and strive towards health, towards sanity, towards healthy relationships, so that you can help others, right? Help yourself before you can help other people. So that is the message of this video. Again, wanted to touch on that sort of martyr complex that I think a lot of people have when it comes to negative and unhealthy relationships. Hopefully, I was able to share some nuggets, share some good perspectives, some advice with all of you. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to click that thumbs up, give us a like, leave a comment down below, share some of your thoughts, your feedback, your ideas, and your experiences as well. Lost and Found Dating Channel, signing off, signing out. Catch you all next time. Peace.